The rain fell like judgment on the rusted roof of the farmhouse, and for the first time in her 17 years, Maya had no place to go. The screen door slammed behind her with the finality of a verdict, and her grandmother's voice, once soft like warm bread in the morning, now rang with bitter steel. You want to live like your mother, fine. Go live like her. But not under my roof. Maya didn't argue. She didn't cry. She simply tightened the laces of her old boots, slung the tattered duffel over her shoulder, and walked down the gravel path. Her heart was full of words she'd never said, words she'd swallowed for years, about her mother, about being called a burden, about the secrets she'd kept. But now wasn't the time. She didn't want to explain herself. Not anymore. The town was small. One of those blink-and-you-miss-it places in rural Tennessee where secrets hung from porch swings like wind chimes, and everyone knew everyone's worst day. Maya had always been that girl, the one whose mama disappeared after the baby was born. Raised by a grandmother who wore disappointment like perfume, Maya had grown up with silence louder than thunder. But Maya had a secret. And it was the kind that could change everything. She'd found it 5 years ago. Hidden behind the attic's rotten boards, inside a rust-covered biscuit tin. Letters from her mother, real, handwritten ones, each filled with love, apology, and a promise to return. And wrapped beneath the last letter was a bundle of savings bonds, old and yellowed, but with a face value that made Maya's breath catch. Almost $200,000. A fortune in a place where people measured wealth in cattle and land. But Maya never told. Because deep down, she thought maybe if she waited long enough, her mother would come back. And when she did, they'd use that money together. Buy a small house, maybe start over somewhere people didn't point at her. Maybe somewhere warm. But 5 years passed. And her mother never came. So now, standing on the side of a county road with nothing but a duffel full of clothes and a mind full of hopes, Maya did something she'd never done before. She chose herself. She didn't go to the sheriff's station. She didn't call child services. She took a bus out of town, paid for with the cash she'd carefully saved from waitressing and odd jobs. She rode for 10 hours, transferring 3 times, each stop a step closer to nowhere. But for Maya, nowhere felt like freedom. She landed in Asheville, North Carolina, with only a rough plan: find work. Stay quiet. Wait until she turned 18 in 5 months. Then, cash the bonds, change her name, and start a new life. Her first nights were rough. She slept in a laundromat once, curled between dryers and the hum of machines. Another night, an old church let her stay in the vestibule. People noticed her, sure. But she had a gift: she blended. She smiled softly, spoke politely, and didn't ask for much. One morning, while helping sweep outside a bakery in exchange for breakfast, a woman in a navy coat and bright red rain boots stopped to pick up her dropped scarf. Maya handed it back, their eyes met, and something clicked. Are you looking for work?" the woman asked. Maya nodded. That's how she met Mrs. Eleanor Price. Mrs. Price ran a flower shop. Not a big one, but the kind that made you believe in spring again. The walls were dripping in ivy, the windows always fogged from warmth and soil, and the air smelled like jasmine and peace. She didn't ask too many questions. Just offered Maya a job sweeping, pruning, and learning the names of flowers most people couldn't pronounce. "You're good with your hands," Eleanor would say, watching Maya coax life out of wilting stems. Maya smiled. She liked the work. It was honest. And the shop felt like a home her grandmother's never had. Days turned into weeks. Weeks into months. By April, Maya had saved nearly $1,000 from the shop's small wages and her careful budgeting. She was renting a tiny room above a retired seamstress's apartment. She had a lock on her door, a key in her pocket, and for the first time, something like peace. But the day before her 18th birthday, Mrs. Price fell. She was alone when it happened, her hip shattered on the cold tile floor of the shop. Maya found her the next morning, curled and in pain, refusing to cry. "I'm sorry, honey," she whispered. "I don't have anyone else." Maya didn't hesitate. She stayed by Eleanor's side, drove her to appointments, helped her bathe and cook and recover. She didn't ask for pay. It felt like the right thing to do. Eleanor had given her a chance when no one else did. This was how you pay back kindness, with more kindness. One night, as Maya helped her into bed, Eleanor looked at her with damp eyes. "You remind me of my daughter," she said. "She passed away when she was 16. Cancer." Maya sat quietly. "I never had anyone to care for again. Until you." They didn't talk more about it. They didn't need to. That night, Maya took out the bonds again. She held them in her hands like old ghosts. The money wasn't just for starting over anymore. It could be used for something better, something lasting. The next morning, Maya made a decision. She walked into a local bank, opened an account, and began the long process of cashing the bonds. It wasn't easy. There were forms, questions, verifications. But everything checked out. A week later, Maya held the check in her hand. It was real. She didn't spend it on a car. Or clothes. Or some fancy apartment. Instead, she walked into the flower shop with a proposal. "Let me buy into the business," she said to Eleanor. "Let me help you keep it going." Eleanor blinked. "Maya, that's too much." "It's not," she said gently. "You gave me a place when I had nothing. I want to make sure you're never alone again. And I want this shop to live." So, they signed the papers. Co-owners. Partners. Family. The shop bloomed, literally and figuratively. With Maya's fresh ideas, delivery service, wedding arrangements, social media posts, it became a community staple. The locals rallied around it. Some people whispered about the mystery girl with the soulful eyes and endless kindness. But Maya never corrected them. She didn't need to. On her birthday, Eleanor threw her a small party. Just a few friends, a chocolate cake, and music that made the floorboards sway. Maya stood in that little flower shop, surrounded by warmth, and felt something shift inside her. She'd started with nothing. She'd been kicked out, unloved, underestimated. But now, she was rooted. One day, months later, Maya received a letter. It had no return address. Just her name, scrawled in shaky handwriting. Inside, a single note. "I never deserved your forgiveness. But I hope you found the life I couldn't give you. Love always, Mom." Maya wept. For all the versions of her life that never came to pass. For the girl who waited too long. For the woman she was becoming. She didn't respond. Some stories don't need endings. Only understanding. Years passed. The shop expanded. Maya became known for her generosity, offering jobs to teens in hard times, donating arrangements to nursing homes, giving bouquets to strangers on lonely days. She never told anyone where the money came from. She let people believe it was from her own hard work. And maybe, in some way, it was. Because fortunes aren't just measured in dollars, but in resilience, and the decision to be kind in a world that wasn't kind to you. People often asked her, "What made you stay here? Why flowers?" She always smiled and said, "Because flowers bloom even in broken soil. And so can people." And so, in the heart of a town that once meant nothing to her, Maya became something more than just a girl who was kicked out. She became a woman who built a life, not from money, but from compassion. And the fortune she once hid? It became a garden from which kindness grew, season after season, year after year.